Evening, everyone. Welcome to the Executive Board for Wednesday, the 24th of September, 6:15. So let's move to item number 1, which is apologies for absence. Mel.
Thank you. I have apologies from Councillor Birch and also from the following non-members, Councillors Dawkes and Grady.
That's fine. I'm just checking that you said Councillor Kersey as well. You did, yeah, excellent. Tick them off. Any declarations of interest? No, excellent. To approve the minutes of the previous meeting, hopefully you've all read any matters arising from the minutes at all. I'm happy to propose. Can I have a seconder? Thank you, Emma. All in agreement?
That's carried.
Thank you. So moving on to leaders' announcements. So I have a few to cover, so apologies for the time on this. Firstly, a reminder of the district election for Bretforton and Offanem, and that is taking place on the 9th of October. On the local government review, members will know that we voted for a South Worcestershire Council to be put forward to government. So we've now appointed KPMG as our official support partner to write up the case for the 5 districts, effectively, because 5 districts in Worcestershire actually agreed in terms of a north-south approach to Worcestershire unitary. So with Mutual Ventures, who we have already had guidance from, they will be working with KPMG to work up effectively the business case that can go to government. You will remember that we have to submit a paper to government by the 28th of November for Worcestershire. Our understanding is that others may put forward a one Worcestershire approach, so it's very possible that 2 documents will go forward on the 28th of November. To support that work, there will be involvement of members, and I need to make sure that you've got in your diaries, please, the 6th of October, 6 till 7 o'clock, where we will have a member briefing and input to help shape what we are putting forward. You should have received that invitation already, so please do put it in your diaries and accept it. Third item is really to pass congratulations from the Executive Board and the Council to a team from Malvern Hills and Wychavon who did us very proud at the recent West Midland Employers Tri-Sector Challenge and were runners-up in the effective communication category. The Tri-Sector is a management game to give aspiring leaders experience, and we know we've got some aspiring leaders, so that was well deserved. For your information, some of you may have had contact with some of the team. So the Tri-Sector challengers were Amy Cole in Revs and Bends, Victoria Kempton in planning, Sheila Mari in finance procurement, Ellis Woodley in IT, Hannah Davis in planning policy, and Anne-Marie Bishop in housing. So I think we send our congratulations to them. You'll remember that a while back we had a peer review for Wychavon, and we were considered good, but we want to be great. We know we're great, so we've set a timetable on to try and improve further as part of our continuous improvement policy. So that follow-up is happening tomorrow, and I would like to thank everyone involved, and we'll feed back the outcome from that session tomorrow as soon as we can. You will have read as well, we're looking for a couple of members of the public to become co-opted members for our town communities and rural advisory panels. So the deadline for that is this Friday. So if you know anybody suitable that can give good, honest input to shaping our terrific panels and giving value input, then please do nudge them to apply. It's all online, but that would be good. Which then leads me to an update on major projects. You'll know that every exec board, I like to update on major projects so that you've got a clear idea of where we're going with some of the key areas that we're trying to achieve a success for Wychavon. So for Pershaw, we've completed our purchase of Pershaw Motor Group. So I just need to change my papers. And we're now exploring opportunities for development of that site. Similarly for Pershaw, you'll know that we're investing in the old police station next door. So now we're looking at possible designs and how to configure the office space and how we can move that forward. In Droitwich, the leisure centre, there's quite a bit on the leisure centre. All initial works, including the compound and temporary reception, have been completed. We're digging down for the new extension, encompassing the new pool, reception and cafe. Wychavon Leisure have moved the fitness equipment into the main hall, and a marquee has been erected on the rear car park for fitness class provision. Physio services have also been relocated to the rear of the studio. And everyone can find updates on all of this on the Wychavon Leisure and Wychavon District Council websites. That is important for anybody that you know uses the facility because of potential closures for any of the amenities, so they need to ensure that they're signposted to do that. Electrical system survey complete and the removal of redundant systems. Proposed insulation and cladding has been upgraded, and we anticipate, or we appreciate the inconvenience, but hope members of the public will be patient with our long-term vision, because we know it will be so good at the end of the development. The new skate park and pump track will follow in June, July 2026. They were going to be sequential. We've now built in the programme that they can be completed at the same time, which is an improvement. Members will be aware of the health corridor as well, that will go along the canal bank from Salwarp to the leisure centre. So great progress has been made with the health corridor, and many sections of the route are now fully open to the public. We're working with suppliers on the signage and sculptures that will be installed. The works are anticipated to be completed at the end of October. I hope they are, because we've already put in a launch date of the 28th of October. If I briefly mention the Raven, then we'll go to Evesham. So the Raven Hotel, we have invoiced the owner for the works. You remember that we did Section 77 works that we commissioned in accordance with the court order, and we'll be looking to recover the debt within our timescales. We're working with the owners on the next steps to include demolition of the areas as included in the planning application, together with the protection of the listed buildings. So I know from the public of Droitwich that seems to be taking some time, but there's quite a lot to be discussed in terms of conditions, method statements to ensure that the demolition is done appropriately. There is asbestos involved, so we have to make sure that everything's done in the right order and the right way. So if I go to Evesham, so the Riverside Centre, officers continue to work with Homes England with the aim to secure a grant to purchase the site. We'll then bring a report to Council in November to agree the purchase and consider the next steps of the game-changing project. Again, like I said, for Droitwich, we know how important Riverside is to Evesham, and we have that vision of changing the whole of the centre of Evesham to really make the most of the assets, the river and the park, and this is a process that we need to follow in order to achieve that. The roundhouse at Evesham, the roof works on the building have been commenced, and National Westminster are exploring opportunities for the future of the building. We think we've previously said that we hope that working with NatWest that they will allow that to come over to a public body in terms of securing the future of it in some way. So those discussions are ongoing. A new one I have not updated on before is the Common Road Valley Walkway, so along the river to the valley. So officers have met with the County Cabinet member and have received positive feedback in relation to progressing the project. So we've now set up a project team within Wychavon to try and further that initiative. The Laurels, so our landmark partnership to deliver new affordable homes with rooftop has been given the green light, following planning permission being granted last week. This is for 23 new homes, including affordable housing, on council land just off the Laurels Avenue in Offanem. And this will be developed with a mixture of size and tenure with social and market rent and shared ownership properties. And then I think finally on the major projects is Honeybourne Station. So we have asked Network Rail to look at options to provide a bridge to across the track to enable a new car park to be built across the tracks for commuters to be able to access the routes without the current difficulties of parking. They're currently working up the options for the council to consider. So that will come back to us once everything's been worked through. The final thing I will mention is that I have sent a letter on behalf of the council to our friends at the county council over some of the major projects that we want to see results on. So that includes Copcut traffic lights in Droitwich, where we know that it's been an ongoing situation of congestion and a lot of the traffic are making shortcut routes, rat runs, to try and avoid the traffic which is causing a lot of issues on residential areas, as well as delaying everyone's commute or transfer through Droitwich. So we're trying to find hope the county can find with us a speedy solution to that. An ongoing one that's been going for ages, I've been on council for some time, and I know it's been mentioned a number of times, is Evesham congestion. So we want to establish a good communication with the county to try and see if we can get some resolutions in terms of Evesham congestion, and that is on the A46 as well as through the centre of Evesham. The third one is really just to get a confirmation decision from County Council on their capital investment into Hampton Bridge, which is a key initiative for us in Wychavon, but we know the financial issues that County are struggling with at the moment, and we just hope that the Hampton Bridge is not put in any jeopardy, because that provides a key active travel route in Evesham for our whole community in the Hampton area, and we want that investment in Evesham as well. The fourth one is the marketplace security improvements and parking. So we've been advised by the County Council that they can no longer fund the installation and maintenance of the retractable bollards in Bridge Street and Marketplace, which we believe was previously an agreement. So what we're trying to get confirmation from County is what is their solution there, and try and push them to come back on board to getting that in place. And the final one is Stone Arrow Farm. So what we're asking, therefore, is support with the HGV movements and traffic around Stone Arrow Farm to support the multi-agency enforcement activity. So that has gone to County Council as well, so hopefully we can get some forward momentum on some of those initiatives. So if I just go back to the final thing I want to mention on my update. So you may have seen that one of our councillors has been selected as one of 74 baton bearers for the Herefordshire Baton of Hope Relay taking place in Hereford on Thursday the 2nd of October. So we're immensely proud of Councillor Beverly Hardman. She will join the relay, and I know Beverly wants us to talk about the reason and the purpose of this, because this is what needs communicating, and we need to amplify as much as we can. And that is, it's a powerful national initiative aimed at raising awareness around mental well-being, mental health and suicide prevention. The day-long Herefordshire leg, which is one of 20 across the UK and Ireland, will shine a spotlight on those critical issues, bringing communities together in a show of solidarity, support and hope. So I'm sure we all congratulate Beverly, and we really appreciate the motives for your involvement on that session. So thank you. So we can move on to public question time if we can, Mel.
No, we have no questions.
I should just take any questions on the leadership aspect, but if there's none, okay. So we can move on to item 6 if we can then. So We have our friends here from WRS. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. And I'll pass to Councillor Rick Deller to introduce item 6, contaminated land.
Yeah, yes, thank you, Leader. So we are looking to adopt this update of the original document, which was last issued in 2012. It only includes some changes from central government. What is good, though, that it doesn't place any additional obligations on us, nor does it change any of our statutory responsibilities. As we speak, there are no sites declared as contaminated land since 2001. We need to do this as our approved strategy is out of date. A number of our neighbouring districts have already passed this. Leader, I'm happy to propose this. Any questions I will direct to our colleagues at WRS or anything I have missed, but I think it would be helpful if our colleagues could briefly touch on the bar there is for contaminated land and to see how that works and how you designate that, please.
Good evening, everyone. So contamination of sites can generally come from the industrial historic land use. You might think of factories, gas works, chemical works. It can be associated with waste processes such as historic landfill, commercial uses such as petrol stations, dry cleaners, and even domestic incidents such as heating oil spills. So the sources for contamination are numerous and varied. But the presence of a harmful substance in isolation doesn't mean that land would meet the legal definition of contaminated land under the legislation. The source of contamination must present a significant possibility of significant harm to relevant receptors. So, for instance, to human health, and that would be through a viable pathway of exposure, and that must be demonstrated by robust investigation and assessment. There's a very high threshold that must be met in those circumstances, and to explain significant harm, the potential for that would be serious disease, death, deformation. It's serious consequences which the threshold need to be met and demonstrated. So just contamination in isolation, that there's probably over 2,000 sites within Wychavon that are potential sites of concern that generally would be not really presenting risks to receptors and can be addressed through the planning regime. So it's only the very serious sites that would meet that definition. And as Councillor Della said, that currently no sites have been declared through Wychavon since the contaminated land regime was introduced in 2000. Was there enough detail on that? Thank you.
Thank you for that. Do we have a seconder, please? Councillor Harden.
Thank you. You said lots of things I was going to cover, so thank you very much indeed. Just like to say, if you do read the paper, you might be frightened to see 2,800 sites that could be contaminated, because like you said, there are petrol stations, all sorts of other areas. But I'd like to pose this paper because it's carrying on the good work that you already have done and will carry on doing, and you're continuously looking at everything all the time. So thanks for your help as well.
Thank you. Any questions, Councillor Stokes?
Yeah, thank you. The human threshold is understandable, but obviously there are lower thresholds regarding risk to crops or risk to animals or risk to wildlife or biodiversity. Does the contaminated land impact on that? Is there a mechanism of thresholds or grading on that? Or is that dealt with through the planning policy?
Obviously, you've got risks to controlled waters as well, where there have to be a serious impact to the water bodies that would affect whether they're meeting the thresholds for a water body set by the Environment Agency, and we'd look to them for as the regulator in that respect. But there are other receptors, but it's an equally high level of harm for those receptors as well. So
Okay, any questions from members of the public at all? Sorry, from our members. Councillor Day.
Thank you. I thought it was an interesting report, and thanks for preparing it. I think we all probably enjoyed reading a bit about the history of the area as well, and the different elements that have led to the land that we currently have. I think I was probably following on Councillor Stokes's line of inquiry. It just seems to me to be a bit imbalanced that you've got 2,000 possible locations, and yet there's nothing that we seem to have been able to do or seen the need to do. And I just wondered whether, from your perspective, you either find that frustrating or whether you feel that there is an intermediary step that you can or we should be doing for land that is not meeting this threshold, but it is nevertheless pretty bad. From the point of view of somebody who's watching this online, and I know that at least 6 people will be, it would be good for them to sort of know, are we missing the thing completely and we're not actually addressing the issue? And, they'll read 2,000 possible sites and think, what action therefore is being taken. I'd just be interested to know what is happening rather than, you've clearly said nothing can be done with the legislation as it stands. Thanks.
If I may, Chair. Most of the significant sites of where industry has has finished in the past and moved on, and it's now gone for development for housing, for example, that's probably where you're going to have the most significant risk. Those are landfill sites because of the nature of the gas migrating through the ground off-site. Those kind of sites have been tackled historically, either through the planning regime or through monitoring of landfill sites and the like. So whilst we've got 2,000 odd sites in Wychavon, those are sites where they've had a historic land use or an incident that's occurred in the past. And for the vast majority of them, there's been some kind of clean-up in some shape or form. That doesn't necessarily provide a continuous protection against any contaminants that might remain in the site, if there were any to begin with, because it might have been completely cleaned up. But it's on our list of watching briefs so that we're aware of that should a land use change or something else significant change. For example, landfill sites may be adequately controlled with gas migration off-site because they've got vent trenches in place, or the groundwater conditions are such that they don't allow gas to migrate off-site. But you only need a change in groundwater levels that might affect that and influence that. And as part of our watching brief with monitoring reports that we see, or through any development, an analysis on development around the outskirts of a landfill site, we will keep an eye on that and consider that in our approach. And that's when we would look to take remedial action. We haven't had to do that with any site in Wychavon to date, but we have elsewhere.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Sims.
Thank you, Chair. Can I just ask, I presume it is the onus of the landowner to clear up the site and you enforce an issue if it's not undertaken. Is that right?
Generally, it could fall to the landowner as the responsible person, but it's not so clear-cut as a lot of these activities took place historically. And so you'd have to demonstrate the responsible person, whether an entity still exists, or it could fall to the council, it could fall to a landowner, it could fall to a member of the public potentially in that respect. But it would have to be demonstrated through the specific site.
Not an easy one. Any other questions at all? No, so thank you. So we've got a mover on that from Councillor Della and a second from Councillor Hardiman. All those in favour, please.
That's unanimous.
Thank you. Moving to item 7.
Thank you, Leader. Yes, air quality and contaminated land both in the same meeting. Aren't we the lucky ones? But on a serious note, this relates to one of the most important villages in our district, that being the one of Wychavon. To those of whom who do not know the crown jewel of Wychavon. It's in the north of our district, sandwiched between Droitwich and Bromsgrove. The village is surrounded by the M5, and there's a major A road going through the middle of it. What we are asking today is the removal of the air quality management area. So like all good things in the public sector, it has an acronym, that being AQMA. There is a standard which it needs to meet to qualify for an AQMA, and that comes from DEFRA. And if the levels fall below, they expect you to withdraw it, which is why we are here today. This is a very good news story. It means there will be no longer any AQMAs in Wychavon, and of course it's good news for the people of Wychbold. I will again, if the leader permits, pass to our WRS officers any more meat on the bone which I've missed. But as portfolio holder and as you may have guessed, as local member, I am delighted to propose this item.
Thank you, Chair. Difficult to follow, I think, Councillor Della after that introduction, but I'll do my best. The air quality management area was declared for exceedances of the air quality objective for annual average nitrogen dioxide observed at sensitive receptors between 2012 and 2018. That pollutant is predominantly associated with emissions from vehicles. However, following the declaration, we've observed no further exceedances of the air quality objective in monitored concentrations. In 2022, DEFRA introduced a new guidance following the Environment Act in 2021, which requires local authority with air quality management areas to revoke the air quality management area if there have been no exceedances of the air quality objective for a period of 3 years, or depending on the methodology of monitoring, below 10% of the air quality objective for 3 years, and that there should be no air quality management areas which have been under the objective level for 5 years. We discussed with DEFRA in 2024 about continuing a period of monitoring for a further calendar year, because we'd placed a continuous monitoring to determine the levels of air pollution in the AQMA. In the monitors were placed in May 2023, and we now have 2 years of continuous monitoring data and 3 years following post-COVID of other monitoring data, which shows that the levels of nitrogen dioxide are all below 75% of the air quality objective, and therefore we've got sufficient information to give us confidence that we should be revoking the air quality management area at this time in line with guidance. Thank you very much, and open to any questions.
Thank you for that. It's effectively good news, isn't it, if we're that comfortable that it's passed the test. So I'll pass to the seconder for the item, which is Councillor Hardiman.
Yes, thank you. It's really good news. As we know, air quality really matters to all of us because it affects our health, everything from cancer, asthma, heart disease, and sadly people die from it. But it's really good news that level's come down, and I know you'll carry on monitoring it and reviewing it there and everywhere else across our area. So thank you again.
Thank you. Any questions from the board? No, from members? Councillor Day? Councillor Sims first.
Can I just ask how you know why there is the 75% less in the nitrogen dioxide? What is it? Is it because we have more EVs, or what is it? Do you have the data? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Councillor. There's a number of factors, both local and national. Nationally, as you sort of alluded to, clearly there's the advance in just general vehicle technology and the move towards lower emission vehicles. There's also a number of international policies called Euro codes, which require manufacturers to reduce the emission levels of all new vehicles every year. Plus, there's new technology such as stop-start technology in all our modern vehicles, which reduces idling as well in vehicles. So there's very much, this is a pattern we're seeing across the county, and it's in large part due to modern vehicle technology, and we assume that's going to continue as we move towards the banning of sale of petrol and diesel vehicles in 2030, and we see more electric vehicles on the road. So that's one aspect. Locally, the AQMA is quite proximal to the M5, and in some of the years, at least, where there has been observed exceedances, there were works going on the M5 to over various periods of time of the sort of 6-year period. And that had two effects probably on local background levels of pollutions, in that, whilst the works were going on, the traffic is moving slower on the M5, and that could produce more emissions. And secondly, traffic was also being diverted at the times via the A38 probably. So the cessation of those works in 2017 has probably had some impacts on the improvement in background levels in the area. The other aspects we're aware of is that the bus fleet has improved to Eurocode 6 post the declaration of the AQMA. We also had COVID, which obviously significantly affected traffic and then the impact on pollution levels for those 2 years. But also we've seen some trends following COVID of more people working from home, doing more Teams meetings, virtual meetings, etc. And all of that has a benefit in terms of reducing travel and improving air quality. And there is another aspect in climate change. Milder winters actually helps to improve this level of this particular pollutant. So there are a number of factors why we've seen this increase, but the predominant one is the improvement in vehicle technology and switch to low emission vehicles.
Yeah, that was very well explained. Thank you. Councillor Day?
Thank you, Leader. Yes, I just wanted to follow up. I mean, obviously, Wychavon is one of the nicest villages, and it has got a great play area, I would mention, and a very active councillor as well. And I think this is a good news story in the sense that, nitrogen dioxide emissions have gone down. I think that is clearly good news. While we've got the team here, I just wanted to find out what the monitoring looked like going forward. I tried to look at the last report that we had at the last exec board, and as my understanding of it is, there's going to be one monitoring station which is about 1 kilometre from the motorway on the, going east along the A38. I suppose my question was, one of the debates we had the last time we met was whether or not it was good to build housing right up against the M5. We've seen a few planning applications come forward in Wychavon for just that. And I think many of us feel that isn't the right location. But if all we've got is one monitoring station now and it's 1 kilometre away, is that likely to give us a fair reading? I'm obviously thinking not just about NOx now, but the new particulates that I think have increased a lot with the move to electric vehicles. Obviously electric vehicles, much heavier, much bigger, fatter tyres, and a lot more small particles ripping off the rubber as we go along. So we'll probably see an increase in that sort of form of pollution. So the question briefly is, what monitoring have we got around Wychavon? What facility have we got to put a temporary monitoring in closer to where we might have a new site for building in future?
Thank you. With regards to monitoring, we have the continuous monitor will continue in Wychavon for 2 more years it's contracted for. We also have a number of what we call NOx tubes. So, and I couldn't tell you the number off the top of my head, but there are several locations throughout the AQMA. With the cessation of just the air quality management area being revoked, it's not going to change the monitoring programme immediately. We do review our NOx tube monitoring network across the county on a yearly basis, but given that this would be very new, that we're going to leave all the monitoring as it is for the time being. We also have a network now across the county of some newer technology called low-cost sensors, one of which is also located in Wychavon. And that does also monitor particulate matter, PM 2.5. So we're building up a picture of that, but there hasn't been, we don't have, unlike NOx, we don't have a huge amount of data from previous years. The focus is, as you've sort of alluded to, is now moving towards particularly PM 2.5. And DEFRA have, for the first time, have introduced 2 national monitors in the county. Unfortunately, there isn't one in Wychavon. There's going to be one in Worcester and there's going to be one in Redditch. So we're going to be getting much more of a picture of the particulate matter situation in the county. At the moment, we only really have about 1 year's worth of data from when the sensors were put up. In terms of PM from sources, there are, unlike nitrogen dioxide, which is predominantly associated with traffic, there is numerous sources of particulate matter, both natural occurring, sea salt, volcanic eruption, stuff which is moving from globally around, as well as sources from anthropogenic sources. So wood burning is a particular one. Traffic itself in the country provides, I think, about 10 to 12% of particulate matter. And most of that is in a slightly coarser fraction of PM10, which is associated with tyres. PM 2.5 is more associated with brake dust. So the monitoring only gives us a sort of general number. To actually determine sort of sources, etc., needs a somewhat more unique scientific study. But we are actually in discussions, in fact, just yesterday with the University of Birmingham about putting such a study together, maybe somewhere in the county, utilising their students in the future. So we are monitoring it, and it's a case of watch this space, and we'll report, obviously, what we find. Thank you.
Thank you. It's good news that we continue to monitor. I think that's the essential thing. Councillor Stokes?
Yes, thank you. Obviously, we'd like to congratulate the North of the District Wychavon in actually catching up with the Royal Borough of Port Street in Evesham, who had the pleasure of revocating their air quality management area in 2016. So welcome to the club. Thank you.
Gosh, we're playing battles. Any other members want to join the battle? No, that's good. So we've got to propose a seconder. So all those in favour?
That's unanimous.
Thank you. So we can now move to item 8. So Wychavon District Council's empty home strategy. So Councillor Della, please.
Thankfully, this is the last time you hear from me. Before I start, I would like to welcome David, our newish empty homes officer. He's replaced Anne-Marie, who was promoted. He is sat alongside Steph, who's one of our talented housing officers, who is leading on this. I'm delighted to introduce and propose this item, as it shows that this council is leading the way. When I first became portfolio holder, I said to the team, one of the things I want to deal with is empty homes. I didn't actually give any more detail than that. And thankfully, we have a very talented team here who took that and turned it into something very tangible. So how do we solve the empty homes problem? And why is it important we solve it? We solve this problem by fully identifying the problem. So what we did was we hired a dedicated empty homes officer. Now, we are one of the only councils, especially of our size, to have such a post. But why is it important we bring empty homes back into use? Because it benefits us all. We have a crazy amount of pressure being put on us for the demand for housing from both a local demand and from the government. Restoring empty homes brings strength to our communities, improves our towns and villages, and by removing locations that attract antisocial behaviour and vandalism. Now, the statistics are stark. The National Council of Tax Statistics show that 4.38% of dwellings across the country are recorded as being unoccupied. Now, that's 1.1 million dwellings recorded as empty. As of August 2025, Wychavon District Council had a total of 785 empty properties, which have been empty for over 6 months, and with 2,382 households on our housing register in need of affordable housing. So while many councils around the country are burying their heads in the sand with this problem, Wychavon once again are taking action. There was an article on the BBC website a few weeks back asking why aren't councils dealing with it? Where they aren't, we are. We're not only dealing with it, we're putting our money where our mouths are. By committing officer capacity and £50,000 of grant funding to bring these homes back into use. So what are we doing? Well, now, we have promised to bring back 30 empty homes back by 2028. Now, you may be thinking, is that a lot? But don't forget, these are some of the most complex properties. This is a minimum target, and of course we aim to achieve this, to the point where we've asked the team to look at what we would need to bring back more. So our 4 key areas are: priority 1 is to establish a database of accurate information and target our resources. Priority 2 is raise awareness of empty homes. Priority 3, provide advice, assistance and guidance. And priority 4 is enforcement action. We have taken a proactive approach. Why have we taken this approach? Because of the length of time and cost of enforcement powers, such as empty dwelling management orders, is significant. We are engaging with the owners first and working with them to bring it back into use. Does a non-enforcement approach work? Does an engagement-led approach work? Well, I think this testimonial will show it does. Property Y had been an empty home for 14 years. The owner had an emotional attachment to it, which was preventing anyone or anything motivating him to either renovate it, restore it, or sell it. Not only was the property sitting empty for a long time, but it was also affecting neighbours due to water ingress, creating damp and mould, and the smell from the rear extension to the property. The neighbours already had underlying health issues, so it's imperative that we sought a solution. Negotiations took place with the owner over a period of time, which resulted in him deciding that selling it would be the best course of outcome. Since then, the new owners have been busy renovating the property and have rented it out. Not only has the previous owner walked away with the money and a solution which has eased his own health, but the neighbours are finally getting something done to address the damp and the mould problems and help to alleviate the stress, the added health issues that has caused them for so many years. A solid and warm home is the bedrock to someone's life. A good home can change someone's life. To see so many being left unoccupied is a travesty. I am delighted that we are dealing with it. With planning pressures and housing pressures ever growing, I couldn't be prouder that we are stepping up in this area. We are already seeing results. Our dedicated Empty Homes Office has been working with property owners, landlords and local partners to give these homes a new purpose. We have already been recognised for our work in this area, winning a National Empty Homes Award for Best Use of Social Media and jointly winning the Rising Star Award. I would like to put on record my thanks, and I think I speak for the entire board, in recording our thanks to our fantastic housing team who are dealing with this challenge and seeing incredible results. Now, I work in recruitment in my daily life. Now, when recruiters write job ads, they always say that their client is market leading. It doesn't really mean anything, because how do you define it? You define a market leader by influencing industry standards. And that sounds a lot like what we are doing in Empty Homes. As I said earlier, that this is a national problem that so many councils are not dealing with. But we are, and we are tackling it head on. We have had other councils contacting us, asking what we're doing and how we're doing it so they can replicate it in their councils. We are, as so often at Wychavon, leading the way. We are leading the way in Empty Homes. It's going to be hugely transformational. And I am so delighted to propose this item.
Thank you, Rick. And as always, your passion shows through. So we appreciate that very much. And you do speak on behalf of all of us in the words that you say. It's great that Jen, Steph and David are here tonight to really hear what we've got to say and to appreciate the great work that you are doing. So we thank you totally for that. It's a service which is adding value to Wychavon, and as Rick said, has been recognised widely. It's award-winning, but we don't rest there, do we? We always want to do more. Yeah, it's part of our continuous improvement ethos. It's part of our We Are Wychavon plan. You know, as Rick said, 3-year, 30 properties, but we know we want to smash that and try and deliver far more because it helps those housing numbers. You know, we know through the housing register, 2,382, and we have 785 homes that are empty. So we know the maths doesn't add up. So we want to do more for the people of Wychavon with the great work and processes that we have. To do that, we need to raise awareness, and there are forms on the website where people can report about empty homes. It's an empty home for 6 months or more that we are interested in, that we would like to try and see if there's avenues to bring them back into the market. But also, you will see in the report, there's grants available to householders as well to try and bring their houses back into use to support people, because that may be the reason they are empty. So it's not just about our work, it's also about trying to help others in terms of their work to get to a solution. And I don't know whether you all saw the news today, but it was covered quite widely about you know, older generations living with their parents, and purely because of the costs of the housing market. So there's a demand there that is just needs that affordable housing, an outlet to try and get onto the ladder. So I'm very happy to second and to herald the work that our team and Wychavon are doing. And as I say, I thank Rick, Jen, David, Steph and the whole team in all the work you're doing. So thank you. So that's proposed second. All in favour? Sorry, I forgot to do questions. We'll do questions after. Any questions? Any questions? Councillor Middleburn.
Thank you, Leader, and thank you, Rick, for that. I think the important thing that we as councillors working in the community can do is actually draw attention through the website that you've described, but to get our parish councils to actually take it seriously and draw attention to it and give them a challenge to identify homes which appear to be empty and are not on the database. I think that's a great thing. And can I just say, with all respect to our finance portfolio, that I do hope that you at least spend the whole of the £50,000 and maybe a little bit more if you can in doing the job.
Any further questions from the Exec Board? Any members? No. Councillor Reeves.
Hello. I'd just like to say thank you to Wychavon for this strategy because, as you say, Rick, Councillor Della, it doesn't just bring new houses into use, but it really does affect the local community. And I've got 2 properties in my ward that have been, one that's been resolved and another that's midway. And I've worked with Anne-Marie and David, and they've done a fantastic job, and it is recognised in the community. Word gets about very quickly that there's action being done, and I think that's the greatest awareness of all, because people are seeing these what are decaying properties affecting adjoining homes, and which have health implications, and people are very grateful. So thank you.
Thank you. And it isn't about the numbers, is it? It is about the numbers, but it's more than the numbers. It's what we're here for, isn't it? And it's a cliche, but it is about changing people's lives for the better. So hopefully this is a big part of that. Misha, are you happy that we took the vote there? Yes. Yeah. Okay. just checking. Thank you. So we can move on to item 9, budget process. Councillor Stokes.
Yeah, thank you. We are about to enter the final budget setting period when we have complete autonomy of what goes into the budget. Any budget setting after this year will have the LGR constraints placed upon it. This is the budget setting process for 2026-2027, And as you will be aware, we are only halfway through this particular current year to base next year's budget upon. This is partly the reason why there was such a dramatic reduction in the actual expenditure in a previous year compared with the budget for the same period. It is a common conundrum in budget setting, and we can only set expectations in the budget for the known unknown. Additionally, if you read 1.2 and 1.3 in the report, there are several areas of uncertainty and only best forecasts can be modelled. I did make a promise following Councillor Tucker's intervention on probing deeper into the disparity between the budget and the actual expenditure, and I have made a promise to bring any significant notifications or any differences to your attention as soon as I'm aware of them. And I will obviously continue to update you. So with that, I'm happy to make the recommendations of 2.1 on page 92, numbers 1, 2 and 3. And I draw your attention to the budget parameters in 3.21 on page 95. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm happy to second. As I say, it outlines the budget timetable, so we're getting into the critical time of year with that. I am aware that there's still a request for people to sign up to overview scrutiny for the budgeting, so it would be good if members do that, please, through to Spencer. Obviously, we've got the capital project meetings as well that go on to support the budget process. And you know, I appreciate the work that's going on with our capital projects, including the additions that are into this paper, which is the police station and the Civic Centre solar programme that we agreed at the last council. So I'm happy to second and take any questions from the board, if there's any questions. Any member questions on the budget? No. So all in favour, please.
That's unanimous.
Thank you. Which moves us on to item 10, so references from committees, and I'd like to pass to Councillor Adams, please.
Thank you, Leader. This is a recommendation that's coming forward from the Communities and Funding Advisory Panel, held on the 1st of September, and it's a request for Section 106 funding amounting to, let's get it right, 17,960 plus 5p. And this is, I think, for play area, or for another play area for the youngsters there, the under fives and that. I believe, I've never been there, but I believe that there's quite a good play area for the older children, but not for the younger ones, and that's what this is going to bring forward. So it's for bonded rubber, mulch and fencing for a new area there. And the highlight of this is, mind, there's going to be a play hut and a play train. Choo choo. Can I repeat that? And we could all repeat that. So there's a play train there for the under fives. So that's going to be great. The recommendations at A and B, Leader, I move, but look forward to that play train.
So thank you. We've had the proposal from Thomas the Tank. Do we have the seconder, please, Paul?
Yes, I'm the Guards fan. Seconded.
Any questions from the board?
Yeah, I have to, because it is my area, and I'm so pleased they got it. They tried really hard with the application to make sure it showed the need for this, because it's under fives. Under fives in theory to use it. Yeah, exactly. And it would be really appreciated. And the village is very appreciative of everything. So thank you, Wychavon.
Thank you, Bev. Any members? No. So, yeah, it is really good news. You know, play is fundamental to our younger generation, so I'm really pleased that we're supporting this. So, all in favour, please?
That's unanimous.
Thank you. Do you want to give a choo-choo to recognise that we voted in favour?
Choo!
Cheers, Rob. So, moving on to item 11, some serious stuff. Write-off of debts. So, if we want to get into detail on this, I will have to move us into confidential session, so just to make you aware of that. But give us an outline of the write-off of debts, Councillor Stokes, please.
Yeah, thank you, Leader. If I sort of work through the initial report, then propose it and then take a seconder, then should it need to go into confidential session, it would only require you to read the notice once. So in public session, I actually sort of report to the council that the amount of debt is written off is always concerning. The worrying trend is the number of write-offs and the value of debts. Pre-pandemic, there was an average of very crudely putting, an average of 225 write-offs with an average of 600 per individual. In 24-25, it's a higher value of 300 write-offs with an average of 750 per each debt. So crudely put, the number of write-off is increasing and the number of values are increasing. So it's a correlation going upwards. Accepting that this is a national trend, the Executive Board are always looking at different options available to us to prevent this figure in all areas continuing to rise, but consider that different options for the individuals involved really regards early intervention is always the most helpful. So with that, I will propose the write-off values laid out in 2.1, 2.2 and 2.3. Thank you.
Thank you, and I'm happy to second. So can we take any questions from the board first? No? From members? Oh, you want to vote first? Yeah. Okay. All in favour?
That's unanimous.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Wilkins.
So after looking at the debt write-off list, there was one write-off of a large sum, and the reason for the write-off given was a company voluntary arrangement, and I guess I was just wondering for some clarification on that.
Thank you, Councillor Wilkins. I think we should go into confidential session and then we can give a full answer onto that. So I will move that in accordance with the provisions of the Local Authorities Executive Arrangements Access to Information, England Regulations 2000 and associated amendment regulations,